Well, the hot summer temperatures can be dangerous for people, but don't forget about your furry friends, too. Dr. Aziza Glass, a veterinarian with St. Francis Animal Hospital and Pet Resort, here with some summer dangers for pets and how you can avoid them. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And you brought a friend, too.
Yes, I brought Apollo here. He is a beautiful and very sweet rescue pet. And he's just going to be here to help me with my demo today.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so let's talk about our 5 summer dangers that we've come up for pets. The first one is heat stroke and dehydration.
Yes.
How do you prevent that?
Well, one of the best ways to prevent it is to make sure that you always provide good shaded areas for your little pups and cats, if you even take them out for walks or do they just go lounging outside. And make sure that you always have good fresh water for them, and even if it's really hot outside, put a couple of ice cubes in it so it can stay cool and keep their body temperatures low.
Dogs don't sweat.
Correct. They don't sweat, and if you see them having this excessive panting, or it seems like all of a sudden they have this drunken gait, or they're starting to do like really rapid, irregular heartbeats, then they might be showing signs of heat stroke, and we want to take them to your veterinarian as quickly as possible.
Let's talk about keeping their paws cool. Any tricks for that?
Yes. So have you ever heard of that whole fried egg on the sidewalk thing? It's so hot you can fry an egg.
Right.
So if you want to test the hot pavement, just put your own hand or foot on the pavement for at least 5 to 10 seconds. And if it's too hot for you, it's definitely too hot for their paws. So if you have to take them on a walk then just get some little booties for them to protect your feet. Otherwise, try to avoid walking them on the hottest part of the day.
Perfect. Okay. Let's talk about now probably dog's least favorite weekend of the year, which is right now, 4th of July and the fireworks. What are some tips for keeping your dog calm this weekend?
Well, the first tip is desensitize, and unfortunately it's better to do that weeks ahead in advance and you're prepping for a while. However, one of the things that you can do is start to play some videos that have fireworks playing in the background so they can get used to that popping noise. And if not, if they're still pretty anxious, visit your local veterinarian and you might be able to, they might qualify for some good medical intervention.
Great.
So we try to use that as a last resort.
Right. We want to talk about fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes briefly, too. Just make sure they're on a preventative.
Yes. Now that summer is here, the parasites are out. So with fleas, all that scratching can lead to a lot of abrasions in your skin and secondary bacterial infections. And mosquitoes are the main carrier for heartworms, which is a fatal disease. And those worms actually migrate to the heart and lungs and can block the blood flow. And finally, the ticks can lead to a lot of blood diseases as well as even paralysis.
I want to get to your demo here because people are probably wondering, why is all this fruit and vegetables on the table here? This is good and bad foods for dogs in the summer. So talk about the good ones first, Dr. Glass.
So some of the good ones are the cantaloupe and watermelon, zucchini and squash, and even some cucumber. And most importantly, my favorite at least, are the berries, the strawberries and blueberries.
So all good for dogs and cats too?
All good. And especially for the cucumbers for cats. I mean, some cats might not actually eat it, but it is okay for them. And one of the things that's really important is that you do not, for the cantaloupe and for the watermelon, you don't want to feed them the seeds. Okay, now we're moving down here. Where do the bad foods start? So now we're in like the cautious area. So apples and peaches and apricots are fine. However, you don't want to feed them the seeds, the stems, or the leaves. Especially for like apricot stems and leaves, they even have cyanide in them. So we want to avoid that, but the flesh of the fruit is actually good for them.
Great. And no grapes and no tomatoes?
No grapes and no tomatoes. Those are very toxic. And for the corn, you know, there's a lot of barbecuing, so you have a lot of corn on the cob, but we don't want the dogs to eat the actual cob because that can actually create an obstruction in their GI system because it doesn't digest very well. So make sure that you're careful about those.
All right. Great information. We're out of time. I wish we could talk to you longer, but wonderful ideas for keeping our pets safe this holiday. Thanks, Opal and Apollo, for coming in. Mike.